It's the sneaky charge that's taking money from your pocket almost every day in a practice that adds up to billions of dollars across the country. But it could soon be a thing of the past, with the federal government promising a crackdown on card surcharges. 16 cents here, 74 cents there. You tap, you pay.
I bought something the other day for $10.50 and there was a 58-cent surcharge.
I hadn't even noticed I'd been paying 50 cents extra.
You just kind of tap away and you don't really pay that much attention, to be honest.
And while it might not sound like much, it's estimated that Aussies paid up to $4 billion in card surcharges over the last year alone.
It's just sneaky. It's a cash grab.
It's very unfair.
Particularly when we're living in a society where we're encouraged to use our cards instead of cash.
Now, the government wants to overhaul the payment system by threatening to ban all debit card surcharges from the start of 2026, subject to review by the RBA.
Too many Australians are paying too much. When they tap their phone, people are paying surcharges which are too high just to use their own money.
They've also committed to a more than $2 million boost for the consumer watchdog to crack down on businesses charging excessive card fees.
There shouldn't be hidden charges and surcharges. When people go and they see a price up on the board at the business where they're making a purchase, that should be the purchase price.
Debit card surcharges used most commonly by hospitality generally range between 0.2 and 1%. The fees cover payment processing costs from the bank and network providers, which businesses are legally allowed to pass on to customers. Small businesses concerned banning the surcharges could prove devastating for some.
We can't just move a fee from a surcharge to a merchant to absorb, because in the case of a cafe or a restaurant, that would wipe out most of their margins. That could send them to the wall.
Some calling for the government to instead target the banks and card providers.
Debit is the new cash, and I don't think it's fair that we pay for the bank's problems with how they manage that. Small businesses are simply recouping the cost of acceptance, and that cost of acceptance has grown dramatically in the last few years.
So now that we live in a world where cards are the new cash, should surcharges be a thing of the past?
We are live from the lands of the Kulin Nation, and Amanda Rose is the founder of Small Business Women Australia. She joins us now. Amanda, what do you make of the government's plan?
Look, it sounds wonderful. Who doesn't want to pay a surcharge when they use their card, which really we're kind of been conditioned to use? But my concern is that it's a $4 billion industry. So where are the banks or the merchants going to recoup that money? If they're going to stop the surcharge for the consumer, and the government is saying it is like it's a great idea, who's paying for it? Because if it gets dumped on the actual small business owner, who then has to absorb that fee, it's going to push him over the edge.
I think one of the reasons consumers get upset, Amanda, is that so many businesses now won't accept cash. So basically what the customer's being told is you have no choice but to pay this way, and now we're going to charge you for that lack of choice.
Yep.
So that just seems
absolutely
like flat out unfair, right? So would you, for example, support a law that mandated all business to have to accept cash?
Absolutely. Cash is king. I've always been an advocate for cash. And I think what's happened is that we've become complacent and lazy. It's kind of, we've done it to ourselves in a lot of ways of saying, oh, we'll just tap, 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 and then realise, hang on a minute, someone's making money off this, I'm losing it, and the small business isn't making money off it. But yeah, if we can go back to cash, especially for those smaller purchases that you normally just, habitually just tap for, like coffee, yes. But yeah, I'd love to see legislation coming in saying that we have to use cash.
All right, I look forward to writing my newsletter and my manifesto. I don't think it will change things, though. That's my concern. So
we can try. We can try.
But can I just... Here's what I don't understand, right? In the olden days, when cash was basically the only way to pay, you wouldn't pay any extra fees because you were just handing over cash. But it still cost businesses money to take cash, right? Because they had to keep it in the till, and then they had to get someone to go take it to the bank, and so that's labour costs, there might be petrol costs, there might be all sorts of costs associated with it. But the customer never had to pay those costs, and business were kind of just happy to wear those costs as part of the cost of doing business. Why are they so unhappy to wear costs just because now those costs are digital?
Well, the thing is, they're still carrying those costs. They still have to make trips to the banks or to the suppliers. What the issue is here is that the banks and the merchants are saying you have to pay this percentage on every single transaction. Think of all the transactions that happen every single day. We need to be questioning the banks and the merchants, say, why are you charging so much for something so simple that is done online?
Amanda, this could be the dumbest question of all time, but why, to avoid all of this, could we just do like a bank transfer every time we go to buy a coffee? Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Could you just say, what's your BSV, and just like do it that way, and then no one would pay any fees, right?
Yes, and within about 24 hours, the banks will charge you for it.
Oh, dogs. All right.
Yeah, but those 24 hours are pretty sweet.
Exactly.
Amanda, thank you for taking us through it. Thank you.
I'm a